Welcome back. If you have, my intention is unity and oneness. We've got beautiful Jess and Candace here with us today on the 8-8. And my internet might be a little spotty, so if we lose my channel, I'm going to let these girls keep flowing. And we just thought we'd pop on here and kind of share some of the synchronicities that we've had going on and just kind of be in these energies and see what messages want to come through and see what we want to play with. So thank you everybody for watching and listening and just kind of feeling into this. Did you guys want to start with anything in particular?
I know Candace has a lot to share with us. Maybe before she goes into that, I just wanted to mention I've been pulling the magnetized card a lot, like pretty much every day for the last few days. And I'm feeling a lot of abundance coming in. Like it's not necessarily but the energy of the codes of abundance are huge right now. And that just feels like something we can rip on if we would like and just talk about at some point. So
Yeah, I could go into flow about that if you want, but that might be kind of fun. Let me put my noise cancelers on.
Candace,
Woo!
it might be good for you to just share kind of what you're diving into and we could flow from there too.
So I feel like some of the message today is going to be a continuation of the video that we did with Alasa, that four square that we did. I'll be talking a little bit about the astrology and the gene keys and how those two modalities intersect, and then also welcoming us to be quantum with everything shared and open-minded, and nothing going forward is going to be locked in. There's nothing set in place. Our infinite potential and like miracle coordinate that is within ourselves is boundless. And so we're opening to this new way of perceiving and these new octaves and these new opportunities. And it's just, even with the Lion's Gate, I think we're going to talk about a little bit how we're shifting our perspective on these dates that we culminate within, and in really harnessing and honoring the power that we bring to the table, the power that we are, and how we are empowering ourselves with these alignments, how we are choosing to empower ourselves, and how we're using everything for that in our magnetic resonance.
Yeah, I'll riff a little bit on that with the whole abundance thing, and also nothing is the same going forward. One of the messages that I've been getting is, well, nothing is the same. Like where I keep coming back to the parentheses, and essentially we are in a process of this very fluid, from what I can sense and what I can feel. These base. And let me back up. When we come together, and I'm going to use the 8-8 as an example, anytime we come together as a group or a collective of energy that has a combined frequency and combined attention that we are paying attention to and giving our energy to, that is what is creating this space. And if we can, I'm going to come back to what I was saying earlier. I don't know if I recorded this or not, but about heart math. Like heart math has proven that we do these meditations all at the same time, being in that heart coherence, and changes happen across the world that are not necessarily something we are talking about in the mainstream, but it's happening on a quantum scale. So all of these dates, all of this astrology, all of these portals, we are the portal. So the more we can kind of come into attunement and alignment and coherence, the stronger our resonance is, the more magnetizing, right, we become, and the more energy we send out, and we become this giant sonar of light and magnetism that essentially attracts to us. And I want to just kind of talk about that abundance thing, because abundance isn't money. It's giving us what we need in order to co-create and in order to experience things in the most abundant way. And so it'll give us people, circumstances, synchronicities, that eventually may bring us that abundance that is important for our expansion and for our living and being comfortable and having fun and bringing more joy. And that's how it kind of shows up for us. And oftentimes it can show up money, definitely. And that has to do also, I want to say, with the changing in our value system as well. So the more we're co-creating or creating from a place of joy, it allows us to be more abundant because we feel more abundant. And then there's something about that that ends up giving us what we need when we need it. And sometimes above and beyond that as well. And sometimes it comes in waves, and sometimes it comes when it's unexpected too. So I just want to kind of just add all that in there as well.
Mm. Yeah, I want to just kind of just speak to what I've been experiencing with abundance has to do with recognizing I have everything that I need. And so there's nothing outside myself. And so feeling so abundant with just myself or within myself comes back to that sovereignty, or you could say the parentheses even of just like, it's so abundant in here that it's everything then reflects that. So coming back to the mirror, this mirror universe that we're living in, everything starts to match what's already inside.
Wow. Yeah. And can I just say one more thing?
Please say more than one more
Holy,
thing.
holy energies.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I'm like, I am on fire.
Yeah.
Rein it in, Carrie.
But on the ground.
On the ground, but on the ground. Oh, and I'm holding my little frog crystal, my agate.
Oh,
Candace got me this.
it's
I am the frog
cute.
clan. Isn't he cute?
He's so cute.
My frog homie. Woo.
So I want to talk a little bit about the chart right now, just because the energies are so strong and they're just moving through all of these planetary nodes that we're surrounded by. And when I say nodes, we can also think of it as musical notes. We can start seeing the planets as these oscillating notes of cymatic frequency that neutrino streams from all the stars around are sending energy through, and they're filtering through and they're landing in us. And they all have a sound and a sequence and a flavor. And there's all these different notes and octaves for us to play with in these streams of energy. And so right now the energy is streaming through our moon currently, which is conjunct Lilith, which I find quite fascinating because there is this collective feminine voice that is this undercurrent that is just booming through us. And many of us are having these profound throat activations. And it's like we've started speaking truth to such a high degree that it's starting to recalibrate our physical vocal cathedrals. And I'm having this right now, and it's almost like the inside of my vocal chamber is like crumbling. There's like crumbling happening as well as repairing. There's like a bubbling up and then also a crumbling in of all the times that I blocked her voice, the voice of the feminine knowing, whose intuition is so genuine and coming from such a pure place that she's has kind of there'd been a cycle created within us that's like people please, or we'll just be like, okay, I'll just put that aside, whatever. All of those little tendencies that sort of created that crust, this energy is just bursting forth. And so many of us are having this throat activation, which is Lilith conjunct the moon in gene key 59. Gene key 59 is the dragon in your genome. It's moving from the shadow of dishonesty. So that's every time we compromised her voice. The voice of the Holy Spirit, or the voice of truth, or the voice of what the Statue of Liberty was supposed to represent. Moving up into the frequency of intimacy Into me, I see. Really letting ourselves see, really letting ourselves hear the voice within and trusting that voice within and coming into that harmonic resonance with that voice within. And as we keep getting more and more intimate with that sound and that sequence of who and what we are, we pull that up into the picture that Carrie's got in the background, which is transparency. We become crystal clear like glass. And when we speak, it is a resounding reverberation that is felt through beings when we speak. Then there will be a deeper response as we're coming into this great clarity. So many of us are just walking through that process right now. And so the moon, the lunar node, is really responsible for guiding the water body of the planet and speaking for her emotions, and it moves the emotional quality inside of us. And so Lilith partnered up with that energy, and this is true sky in the constellation of Virgo, the Virgin. It's like this restructuring, like structuring the water of our being with the sound of truth. And I'm just seeing a tuning fork going into the water and zoom, like just it's just resonating all the way through us.
Yeah, there's so much coming through. Oh my God. I kept thinking about or feeling this like, well, how do I know it's true? Right. Like, and again, I think I hear people or something because it's like this, some people want to speak from what they feel is true, but they're not necessarily recognizing that it's like an ego truth. So the truth that we're referencing that's being called through the earth up into our body and eventually spoken, but it doesn't have to be words. It can be like all of us, you know, we do toning and sounds and mudras and light language and dance. And I mean, it can be expressed in many ways, but just, you know, speaking to like the kind of the shadow side of this that I'm kind of seeing play out. And I've noticed almost like these reactions almost in myself of like, wanting to speak my truth, you know, but if we're not careful, we don't check in, it's coming from this kind of shadow truth that on some level, yeah, that might be the truth, but what are my intentions? What's the purity behind sharing what I want to share? And how can I come back into my center, my heart coherence first, and then from that space, recognize how I want to express myself. And that might just be with self. It might not be with another person. So,
Yes, it absolutely begins with self. And I love at the beginning of this gene key, it talks about how dishonesty actually was a survival mechanism for humanity to get to where it is now. Like we wouldn't have gotten to this place if we didn't have the capacity to be dishonest, to compromise ourselves, to do things that we didn't want to do for a hidden agenda. And it's all about hidden agendas. It's all about almost like the Game of Thrones energy and moving the chess pieces around the chessboard. And it's a really juicy and delicious drama and filled with like betrayal and like even poisoning, like you know, it's everything. It's the whole kit and caboodle. And what it talks about in here is this evolutionary current that's playing out. It's like, okay, it's gotten us to this point, and now it's a deterrent. Now it's actually preventing us from going into the next level of the game. So it's like, okay, how do I stop being so dishonest with myself and with my world? Because I've just been so dishonest that I don't even know how to begin. Where do I begin? I'm so confused. And it's just like you just start by like knowing yourself, finding out really what you want and asking yourself these simple questions and letting yourself have the answers, writing it out. And it can be terrifying. And, you know, many people are going to be going through this journey of self revelation that
yes.
is an inside job. And so it's like, how do I know? And it's like, you know, because you follow it. follow it and it will tell you. If you follow it all the way through, it will show you who and what it is and the quality. If you do that thing, you will see. Even if you just play it out in your imagination, we just have to, and I say have to, many of us are being guided to just confront and see and face all the hidden desires, all of the everything, to see that it's not so scary, that our truth is not so scary. And to just, some of us are pioneers of that, really. Okay, if I'm so honest and it just hurts everybody, but then I'm still available and my heart's still open and I just see it through and I just choose and accept it, accept all that comes with it. And I'm still here and I'm still alive and I didn't die, because part of our genetic coding was like, if we tell the truth, we will die, because it was like that at certain points in our history, especially for women. If we told the absolute truth, we would be beheaded. And so we're coming to a time where it's like, you mean it's actually safe? You mean it's actually safe to come out? And so we're just like coming out slowly, slowly into this field, like the trepid doe, just kind of like, is there something gonna jump on me? And we're just, and in the book here, it says, one thing is sure, if you move against evolution at a time such as this, you will meet an opposing force whose power is incomprehensible. Such a power will ultimately destroy you, as it is destroying all such behavior rooted in selfishness and separation. And this I fully feel, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. If we don't want to let go of these habits, it's at a time such as this that it's being internally called for, then it might be quite painful in an unnecessary sense. So like the wind is at your back to let all this baggage go. And so we're just inviting you to do that. We're on that journey with you. And so step by step, let's go.
I just had a pop-up. My internet must be back up because I just had a pop-up on my phone because I'm not used to doing all this on my phone. And it literally was from Zoom and it said, the games are ending.
Of course.
Will you join us?
Oh my goodness. Yeah. It's funny, as Candace was talking, I kept hearing the word exposure. And then I heard, because I'm a therapist, and exposure therapy, which I don't know, I'm just going to follow this flow. I don't know if you guys know what this is, but it's basically exposure therapy is all about people intentionally putting themselves in situations that they're terrified of. So if you have a phobia of like snakes or something, you would go in and do exposure therapy with a room full of snakes. Just like, for some reason, this is like feels relevant to what some people might be facing right now. And I'm also hearing like exposure, like ready or not, like stuff's just, you can either fall, like know you're supported through that shadow work, or you can hunker down and be in denial and keep lying to yourself or projecting onto whatever. And then it's gonna still, I feel, come up. Because yeah, the new is here and it's not supportive of the old anymore.
And a big example of that was that CrowdStrike crash that happened with that update in with the airlines. It was like some sort of a weird thing that grounded all the flights. There was like a data inconsistency and it just boof ricocheted through everything. And that's kind of a perfect example of what's happening on a grand scale. It's like the new energy is not compatible with the old patterns, the old behaviors, the old choices, the old thought streams, the old tantrums and tendencies. It just isn't going to work anymore.
Mhm.
We, lots of us are just waking up one morning and it's just like we've kicked something. There's been an addiction or a habit or something that was a big hang up that's just gone. I can't even explain it.
Yeah.
So be open to that is what I'm saying. If that hasn't happened to you yet, it might have and you just haven't even noticed it. But there is some things that are dissolving because of the mass of us that are working collectively It's like we've created patches for things that we're sharing across the wide web of human consciousness. And so grab it, be open to it, be open to the quantum acceleration, be open to unlimited possibilities, and understand that there is transference. My success is your success because there is a oneness.
And that is science, you know, that's also science-based. One thing I wanted to say too on the whole dishonesty thing, that I had done that video with the whiteboard with all the stuff, which I haven't shared yet or made it on public, but essentially there's this stuff that's in our field, and though that dishonesty can be stories that we've told ourselves, like I'm not worthy, I don't deserve, I'm whatever it is, and I'm not a I can't do that. Those are not true. Those are all also, if we want to call it, lies that we've told ourselves or someone else has told us that we have believed and taken on as a truth. And the other thing I wanted to kind of bring up again in that whole subject matter, because I feel this flow kind of with all of the stuff we've been talking about, in addition to that, if we are making decisions from that place still, which is part of the reason why we're getting this flush right now, this real flush, this detox, this purge, is we're still going to be making decisions that aren't in full honesty of what we truly are. We're not going to be embracing our I'm hearing entitlement, like our crown, right? Like this crown. But because there's this false idea of what entitlement means. And in actuality, it means to be the king and queens that we came here to be, while not stepping on other people's toes, while coming into toe to toe and saying, I know you are me, I am you, we are we. And as we do this, sorry, I'm in flow. Just happened. It just happened. I just dropped it. And as we do this, we come to a new range for capacity. We go to a new capacity for expansion, capacitator, that's their capacitator flux and all that. I'm hearing Back to the Future. And essentially what happens is we move into the future with more self-awareness, and we let go of all those things that we've been holding on to consciously or unconsciously, and then we co-create creatively and consciously in a much more fluid way that starts to let go of that old system of I can't do this, but this could, and I don't, and all of these stories we've essentially adopted. I'm hearing adopted, and taken on as our own, that have actually given us a false sense of security, even though we think we don't want that. But what happened if you let all that go? And that's kind of, I feel like, what a lot of people might be experiencing too. Like, oh, that's kind of scary. Whew. Scary to be queen. It's scary to be king, and come from a place of inner power and inner truth. We're not getting power from others. We're not taking that power, and we're not giving it away to empower others by us not being honest with what we want, about who we are, about what we'd like to see, about all of that.
So good, Carrie.
So Mercury and Venus are conjunct right now. So Venus, this beautiful relationship and creativity that we have, and Mercury, our ability to communicate in our minds. And they're syncing up in Leo in the key of sounding your truth. And it's the throat, it's the thyroid, it's the ring of no return. And its programming partner is Gene Key 41, which is I believe, I should just check this out. It's a start or a stop codon. It's something that means absolute change. And sorry. Yeah, it's a start codon. So that is like an entirely new genetic chain. Like we are starting anew. And in the shadow of the 31st key, it's arrogance. It's just creating out of arrogance, speaking out of arrogance. It's like acting as if you know, but you don't deeply know. You haven't deeply anchored it in. You haven't really become vulnerable and surrendered to the greater self, you're still acting within the parts of yourself that don't really want to be in charge. They don't. They honestly don't. They've been acting out because they want the you, the greatest you that you are, to take the reins. So they've just been, just like a child, tantrums and flails about. So in the shadow frequency of the 31st key, it talks about the world wide web of words. And it is said that words become worlds. And so we are being asked, and I feel like we each have our own version of finesse with speaking and channeling through the words that we speak in very specific ways. Like Jess, you have such a brilliant way of guiding us to the very grounded parts of our body with your language and creating this calm effect in the nervous system and the somatic body. Carrie, you have such a quantum way of playing with words and just creating an endless activation sequence, and you just open up all the doors and you break all the spells of the words when you speak, because you're just like have full creative freedom to just flow with the words, and that just helps to alleviate the suppressive overlays and programs that have been embedded within the language that we speak.
Mm.
And so it's really important for us to start creating new sentences to.
I wanted to speak really quick too to your,
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I
please.
didn't mean to cut you off. Just about the code, back to the codons. You were talking about the DNA, and we're creating this before I lose that track. And thank you for that. And yes, I just love that. We each bring to the table those different ingredients, right, with our language. But you had said earlier, Jess, I think you were talking about, what was that type of therapy where I heard experiential, but what is
It's
like where
exposure.
you,
Exposure.
so
Yeah.
part of that is in alignment with Candace saying we're creating this new, but that's an experience that you're having that exposes and brings up to the surface, so you can literally shift your entire beingness and how you're feeling and integrate those emotions. You get to feel those emotions, and then you re-establish a new experience around them, right? So that changes your memory of that. And when we change our memory, we're changing our cellular memory, we're changing our DNA essentially, because it's quantum. And what you're speaking to, Candace, in alignment with that, with the new DNA, is that it is contagious. Like you said, when I'm doing it, you're doing it. When we go out into the world and we share this new version of us that holds this knowingness, it is a quantum activation, and essentially we come into contact with other souls, other beings inside these vessels or skin suits as human templates in form here down on earth, and we then share those codes, whether it's through touch or being holding a space like we've talked about with heart coherence, or it's in conversation like we're doing now. It's using words. And then this creates what I'm hearing is new sentences, and that's a play on words. Rather than we've been assigned this sentence, it's like, no, we're going to create string sentences, string theory. And it's like this, I'm just seeing this domino effect, but just wanted to kind of rip on that before I lost it.
Jess, do you have anything that you want to?
I'm just like, I don't know. I'm seeing a lot. I'm seeing this golden like tornado, which is so interesting, but it's like this upward spin, which is funny about the tornado that you guys have been experiencing. But I'm just like, maybe that's relevant, but it's a golden tornado that's just like
It feels very relevant because there is a lot of golden energy right now. So that feels like just, again, that structured water just coming into a harmonic spin, and that golden energy. Oh, beautiful. So I wanted to speak a little bit more about the higher frequencies of this 31st key or harmonic. Um, so, and I feel like this is relevant. It's like I speak a lot about this. We're the choir, and we're recognizing that we're all saying the same thing. We're all singing the same song in just a slightly different way, as the orchestra has different instruments, and but it all complements and it all comes together, and it's all intended to capture the ear of a specific group or a specific being. You know, one that will be drawn to the drums will be different than one that is drawn to the flute or whatever. So we're all a part of this great body of music, the sound of music. And so this key speaks about the new leadership that is happening upon our planet. It's not a hierarchy, it is a heart arrow-archy. And so it says here, one can therefore see from the 31st gift that a new era is opening up before humanity, and it is an era in which individual leadership is declining, while something we have never seen before is also occurring. The collective is beginning to lead itself. Those frequencies that really catch the heart of the collective are coming through as collective voices and expressions. Even though they are transmitted by individuals, the point is that those individuals have little or no self-interest. It is truly an extraordinary age that we are moving towards, and is only those ready to make the leap into the heart who will inherit the huge benefits coming to all of us. Because the beings that are ready to come into the heart hierarchy and guide from the heart will be given the inheritance and the responsibility to do so.
So my internet's back up. And of course I was like, okay, there's something bigger with this whole with the whole word thing. Well, let's see how long it stays back up. Mercury. Mercury is so cute. I first of all, I wanted to come back to the whole Mercury thing. Whenever I think of Mercury, I literally think of a thermometer, and I think of what that is utilized to take the temperature. And I think of the element mercury, and I think about what it was used for to power. You know, it was used for, they found mercury beneath pyramids. You know, there's things it's used for that we aren't necessarily using it for now. And I feel like it's a very kind of undervalued planet. Is it a planet? Mercury. It's a planet, right? Not just a so it's undervalued, and it's for a second, I was like, wait a minute, is it just I've got an element? It's a planet? Is it a star too? Ah, the things I
Some
forget.
say it is. Some say it's a star.
Some say love. Okay. So to seek to obtain, acquire, gain, earn. And this comes back to abundance. It kind of brings it back to the beginning. Acquire, right? Acquire. And you were saying acquire, singing. Oh my gosh, I just wanted to flow with all of this. But it's to get in addition to accumulate or gain. And it has to do with query. So I love this because it's like query, let's question. And it comes back to, what do we want? Let's really take this opportunity in this choir to tune into and really ask ourselves, what do I want to sing? How do I want to sing? What group do I was a choir as a group or collective? How do I want to show up with this collective? And is that collective the collective that I want to add my voice to? Is that energy giving energy? I don't even want to say an equal exchange. There's something about that I think that is very valuable for us right now. Oh, really? Um, and it's also, it says acquired, occurring after birth. Sorry about the sounds if that's too loud. occurring after birth, thus not dependent on heredity.
Whoa.
I did not know that. Okay, so this is like it was piquing my interest. So we were just talking about, well, genetics
Yeah.
and this old hierarchy, right? And the, what did you call it? The arrow heart key instead. And this is saying basically that this is after birth, it's not dependent on our heredity. So we're the ones as a collective that are making this choice and speaking our truth and choosing this. I just love the fact that that word was, I just get so excited.
I also feel like this really goes into like what Candace was speaking of earlier of some of us are waking up one day and it's like, wait, that habit's like gone. Or I call it like the rear view mirror effect. Like you don't realize until you're like, wait a minute. Or like you keep reaching in your pocket for stones and you keep pulling them out. One day you
Yeah,
reach in and there's no stones anymore, you know, like it's like that.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
the
yeah.
genetics of the heredity is not
Mhm.
we're literally dropping, we'll call it baggage that was never ours, actually.
Yes, and
Yes.
the gene key 59 essence and harmonic that is within our DNA. These keys just express things that are within us. That's all. That's what they are. So they're not outside of us. They're not just on a paper book. This book was created to speak of the codes that are within our DNA. So the one that's being activated right now that we're speaking of with the moon and Lilith in 59 is doing the genetic laundry.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the 31st key with Mercury and Venus is also at the highest pinnacle of itself. It's the oracle. So I believe that we're all creating this massive oracular body that is just cross confirming and cross pollinating with itself. When we get this divine inspiration and we share it through social media, and then we see that message everywhere, just going through like a wave in all of its different expressions through all the different voice pieces of the body of that oracle. And that reminds me of the Oracle of Delphi. It wasn't just one oracle, it was an oracular body of women and potentially men beings that can sublimate themselves. And it says the oracle is simply a voice box where the divine, it speaks without being attached or even interested in what it is saying. Whatever the oracle says is perfect, and its translation is also perfect. And so there's an acceptance with this level of speaking. So once you've allowed this frequency to command your voice, you've entered the first stage of this divine embodiment. From this moment onward, whenever you use the word I, it is the voice of divinity itself speaking. Such speech is a pure transmission. It uses words to indicate the path beyond words. That is the beauty of its paradox.
Hmm.
And
It
that's
is,
something,
did you say, can you read that last sentence again? It uses the path to create beyond words. Is that what you said?
it uses words to indicate the path beyond words. And I feel like
Ah.
you would know that very well,
Yeah,
Carrie.
exactly.
You're like,
I
I'm just
am,
using.
it's like we keep saying, I am the gatekeeper. I am the key holder. I am the oracle. It's the sound behind the sound in a different way. It's like listening, it's reading between the lines.
And when we say, through my channel or I said, a lot of the times when we say I said, and the other day I said, we are speaking of the I, of the stream of the flow that flows through us. I'm not thinking of like my ego mind or my identity that's like thinking this perfect thing to say. It's like when I said through me, when through me to we, when we spoke through to we,
Mm-hmm.
like this is what's happening in many of our experiences when we say I now. It means transmission. When transmission occurred the other day, this is what was spoken is more appropriate than I said.
Yeah.
Right. Mm.
And getting comfortable with that. You know, I'm sure a couple years ago, this I wouldn't and even how to phrase that properly. But the I that I was at that time wouldn't have felt comfortable even saying that. So it's
Mm-hmm.
just this transformational process or alchemical process that's happened within myself that has the being that I am comfortable with speaking such words and aligning with such truth because I've recognized myself as that. It doesn't feel dishonest in any part of my body. It feels like honesty. It feels beautiful when I speak it. It feels resounding within myself. And if another doubts that, those doubts outside of me remind me of the doubts that used to be inside my own head. And I say,
Mm-hmm.
your doubts are not for me to wrestle with. I've already come through that. So I will just continue to speak, and the doubts that happen, I'll do my very best to create pathways again to the place beyond words. Um, but all you can do is just continue to be that and invite and offer, and that just is.
It is.
I loved.
No, go ahead, Carrie.
No, it's okay. Go ahead. No, you go.
No, you go. It's quite, I just want to speak to this too, that when somebody is embodying that level of truth, it's a resonance. It's again, not what they're saying. So it's a resonance of being, and it can be triggering, very, 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 very triggering to other beings at times, and may not know exactly why, but it's hitting up against whatever may not be integrated within them. So sometimes that's another reason it can be hard to, or scary to
swallow.
embody
Yeah.
this truth, because sometimes it feels like rejection, or it feels like
Yeah.
difficult,
It can feel like a car wash,
right?
right?
Yeah.
It could feel like going through a car wash without your car.
Mm.
And I used to be terrified of the way that I would make people feel because I would come forward and speak, and their response to me would freak me right out because I would feel how freaked out they are. So for the longest time, I just didn't let myself be full Candace or full fledged or just fully transparent. I just stayed within dishonesty. Was like, oh yeah, you're probably right. I didn't mean it that way. Okay, let me try and rephrase that for you. Let me apologize for the brightness that I bring.
Right.
No, and no longer. I'm going to be full fledged, full spectrum in honor of the ones that are ready for that full spectrum. And then those beings can take that creation or that whatever that is. And, we all trickle down the line, whoever is standing wherever they are in that crystal cathedral chandelier. Some will be at the top and some will be all the way down, but we're all one. There's no hierarchy. It is a heart arrowarchy. It's like I will be where I can be, so you can be where you can be. I'll be me, so you can be you. That's it. It's like just joining the chink in the chain that you happen to be at. It's the alphabet. Okay, I'm L or I'm K or I am what I am. I am here. No apologies. I'm just on this spot because I can. Okay, cool. People that are Olympic athletes don't apologize for people that are playing recreation. They're not like, "Oh, sorry that I can do this." Sorry that I'm won this gold medal. Like they just can do it.
Love that.
I love the fact that you were bringing up triggers too, and the rocks in the pockets. Did you just pull that, Candace?
Yes,
That's
I
great.
did. Yes, I did.
That's hilarious.
Only on the Lion's Gate.
Yeah, right. That is so funny.
And I love
Synchronicity.
I love that it's the 22. I
There's
don't even
that
know if you
number.
can see that, but there's the 22. So
Ooh, are you
there's
gonna rip
that.
on that?
Who wants to go?
Yeah. Carrie, what were you going to say about triggers?
Oh, well, what you were talking about, I'm glad that you said that first because it ties it all in with the rocks in the pocket and the triggers because sometimes we are. So two ways that I wanted to add to that. One was you said you were reaching your pocket and you're used to reaching for rocks, and all of a sudden there's no more rocks, and you're like, oh. And we have some. I call that like the shadow limb. It's like sometimes we're done with something, but we're still in the habit of looking for that something to show up, right? Or we think we're going to be triggered by something and all of a sudden it doesn't really matter to us anymore. And we're like, wait a minute, I should be upset, which I've gone through this before, but I'm not. And sometimes we don't even recognize that that's happening in our lives. And I think it's really important to stop and reflect on that, look in your rear view, like you were saying, Jess, because it's good to acknowledge because a lot of times I'm told by people, well, I really haven't this, or I really haven't that, or I'm not where I should be. And I'm like, I can see when I'm talking with them, or if I'm doing a reading, like, that they've let go, or and they're not right, or they've shared with me these incredible stories and these incredible journeys, and they're like, but I should really be da 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 da, fill in the blanks. And that tying that all together, it's like that habit pattern. And also, that's not true. So here we are not seeing our truth when we, tell ourselves that. And so that's kind of part of all this is just letting that all kind of just dissolve without having to hang on to it. But anyways, that's
Yeah, and that's
where I was going with that.
that's like stepping into a unknown identity. Oh, we lost her. I had a feeling she was
Carrie just dematerialized. She might come back.
there. She is. That was great. Come back, Carrie.
Come back, Carrie. When that happened, there was a platinum ray of light that came in so powerfully. It was
Really?
just like came
Wow.
right in and in my third eye. Have you ever used a Lucia light machine?
No.
You never heard of it?
No. Lucy.
Okay,
Lucy.
so it's a device that you sit and you look at and it flashes these light pulses at you and it's just white light, but it causes you to see all these sacred geometrical patterns in your pineal gland.
I have actually. Okay.
Okay, have you done it?
Yeah, I didn't know that's what it was called, but yeah, you lay down, right?
Yeah.
With your eyes closed. Yep.
Yeah, so that's the experience that I just had with that platinum ray.
Wow.
Yeah, it's just like recoding the pineal gland. So, we have these devices, but there's also that available. Like it's just streaming in right now.
Yes. It's just recode.
Wow.
Yeah. Which is honestly, that's just like takes it back to that, be still and know that we've been talking about. Just be still and get recoded for a little bit.
Mm,
You know.
yeah, it's just we're being so fed and Carrie and I went and laid in those Therify beds at the R3 Miracles station. And I feel like it just showed me how to access that energy without the machine. Like
Amazing.
that energy is available
Mhm.
without that. So it's just, yeah, it's almost like it just created a pathway of reception to receive that level of harmonic that is it's out there and in here. It's like we're attracting it now or something. And I feel like, because we're all so connected that there's no separation between you and I and Carrie. So you're
Right.
getting that as well.
Speaking of, am I back?
You are. You're
Oh
back.
my God. Oh my God, I love it. Am I back? Am I here? Oh my gosh, that
I'm just
reminded
gonna.
me of like the poltergeist, or like, speaking to her because I couldn't see her. I just heard her voice. Like, am I here? Where am I? Oh, I'm gonna BRB. So you guys
Can I? Can you see me or just hear
I
me
can see
now?
you. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
You're going, you're flowing. That's funny.
I
Oh,
was just thinking of that flash of light. It's like sometimes we have these moments when we have this massive shakeup and the light is so big and so bright that we aren't even, it takes us time to kind of acclimate and readjust. And I feel like that's happening for a lot of people, too, because so much is happening in such a short amount of time, right? You've gone through this too,
yeah.
where it can be so, and we need sometimes that time just to sit with it and let it all digest. And
Yes.
that's okay too.
Yeah. Right as you were gone, Candace and I were talking about yeah, just be still and know, just really coming back to like be still and recode.
Hmm.
Like let yourself just be recoded and just stay still
Hmm.
for a little bit.
Yeah, right.
I love that as the new be still and know, be still and recode.
Hmm.
I love that.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Whew, because
I feel
Carrie, as you popped out, I felt a platinum ray come in, like just come right into my pineal gland and create
Mm.
like sacred geometry,
Yeah.
like crazy geometrical shapes, and then you just popped right out.
Remember what Alasa said? I'm just laughing.
Oh,
That about the light.
yeah.
Um, we missed Alasa.
Mm.
Um, so that's so funny. I'm wondering if that's part of what just happened. We just had this massive energy come in
or that too. Because you
and
said you saw
pop.
light too, Carrie. Did you?
Yeah, I'm gonna pop over here so I can sit. Um, yeah, so I've been just totally acclimating all day. It's been it's been wild. Like I'm more comfortable sitting on the floor right now.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I had just my whole, I think the other day your face, right? Your faces were like, so
My
this
face
morning
is
I was like,
still
oh
my
no,
jaw.
Yeah.
I thought I was gonna blow up again, my blowfish lips. And I'm like, I felt just this massive and lots of emotions coming through. Last night I had the geometric geometries. I get that as well, where I just see
Mm.
and sometimes I want to just point out it can be very vivid, like maybe what you just experienced. And for me, when I first started having these experiences, sometimes I just feel like somebody might benefit from hearing this. Sometimes they can be very subtle and we don't even realize we're having them. So it would be that thing where I just would be drifting off to sleep, or I would be in meditation and all of a sudden it'd be choo,
Mhm.
and I'd go, what was that? And then I finally started to pay attention to it and I realized it was geometries,
Mm.
shapes, colors. But it wasn't until I actually noticed it that I realized what it was. And I would never have even, I would have just thought I woke up or was just, woke out of a sleep. And sometimes we just don't recognize that, by the way.
Mm.
Oh, I love that
Whew.
you just said that because that was exactly the experience that I just had. Like as soon as you popped
Mhm.
out, that's what was happening
Mhm.
within my own experience. And I feel like, as you were
I
saying,
just felt lost.
acclimating, I was hearing recalibrating. Like we're constantly recalibrating right now.
Yeah.
And so, whatever you need to do to recalibrate and re-know yourself to the greatest degree that you are in just pure simple I am love, in pure simple I know myself as goodness, I know myself as this this purpose that is helpful, and I'm willing to be helpful in my own life, and that's where it begins. I'm willing, I'm open, and I'm deserving of this, to be involved in this next wonderful collaboration. And the Gene Key 41, the start codon that we're speaking about, that's the programming partner of Gene Key 31 that Mercury and Venus are in currently. is like the front door. It's the key to the front door that opens to the next new world that we are stepping in together. And we are, there's, it's just, it is. There's no more room for doubt. And I speak for myself in that, but there's no more room. You know, I've gone past the point of no return, and that's the ring of no return. I recognize that in myself. And it felt like I was on a turbulent airplane to get there as my whole body tremored to make it to me, to make it to myself. And I'm thinking of that little girl and that skit that we love, Carrie, that we got to send to Jess. Maybe Jess has seen it, where that little girl is like, I asked myself, my lipstick from Home Depot.
She's got like lipstick all over her
Oh
face, and her dad's like, "Did you ask?" And she's like, "Uh-huh."
I asked myself.
I asked myself.
This is my lipstick. And he's like, oh yeah, where did you get it? And she's like, Home Depot. Like the confidence of that little crystal child.
Right.
That's where we're coming into now. These kids are just born with it. They're like, I asked myself. Like, what do you mean?
Right. Oh my God.
So something that feels so foreign to us is so natural to the next generation coming through. And we're, so many of us are being called to really step it up for those kids, for the kids coming in, for the next future that we promised we'd hold the doors open for them. And in the grand scheme of all the soul agreements, many of us have come here just to hold the door open for the children. And we don't even have to be directly working with them. They're, you know, we're just holding it open as pillars wherever we are, proclaiming that in the reality, making space for the possibility of what they're now going to take the reins and build and bring through. I keep getting that. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I thought it was really important that you had mentioned too, using the equipment. It gave you the ability to feel how you can do that on your own. And it's interesting because I feel like that's really important. Just that's standing out in my mind right now. Like, part of what we're doing is like when the three of us work with someone, we're teaching them how to do what we do, or we're encouraging them to, you know, and they're giving us the gift of sharing with us what they do. And because we can feel into that, it gives us the ability to feel into that. And then we get to do it too, in essence, through sometimes our experiences with other people. And I just think that's really valuable, because it's like when you experience a feeling and you experience a device or you experience a relationship, you're like, wow, I feel bliss. Oh, now I know what that feels like. That's having the experience that changes the cellular memory. And you can use that memory to bring it back again and again and again, providing that you're able to hold that same vibrational match or coherence or whatever you want to call it. And I feel like that's really important. I just wanted to throw that in there if you want to rip on it a little bit or add to it. But
I just think that's important to stay in coherence right now as much as possible. Right there, it's because you're recoding through the heart. And so as much as we can anchor that coherence, that compassion, all of that, it's just going to be a smoother ride, you know, through whatever we're creating. So
take it easy.
I had a really profound experience the last couple days. You both witnessed me fall quite ill really rapidly. And then I had a dear friend of mine, Seth Pruinsky, who created a musical soundtrack for me, or like a musical piece where he played the guitar and he spoke these powerful affirmations into this piece that he created for me. And so he was just telling me like, you can heal this. You like, he was just kind of like, how long do you want to be sick for? And I was like, what? Like, you get to choose that kind of like, wait, what? Like, his energy and his belief was an option for me, just like the Therify is like, here, you can do this. He was holding well, in my world, I just decide like when I can, and I was like, it was really like I could see it in me, the conflicts immediately. Parts were like, well, no, but things take time, and I was like, wait a minute, I want to try this on.
Yeah.
So the more I listened to his song and the affirmations, the more I believed it, the more I knew it, and it became me. And it was like, just I could feel the song flowing into my throat, and it felt like white blood cells of energy that were going there and like working. And I had a strider yesterday. I couldn't even get more than a sentence out without choking, and I was wheezing. And I've been carrying on a lot.
A lot.
No. So I'm just like so brimming with this, like, wow.
Yeah.
Pretty
Yeah. No
profound.
time. We're in no time creation space right now.
I just listened to a quick, this is the irony in this and the synchronicity is I popped on, there was something on YouTube with, I don't know if you've listened to, and I'm not sure if this is his name, RJ Spina. Anyways, he's this gentleman and he has a fascinating story. I don't know him, but I felt compelled to listen. And I think because he was basically saying the same thing. He was paralyzed at one point, couldn't walk, was told he'd never walk again. And now he's perfectly fine. He's walking and he's teaching a lot of people exactly what you were just talking about. And what struck me is I felt a lot of resistance around it too. I was like, yeah, but my back, like I was thinking, like my back went out last week. And, he's just like, well, do you believe, and I love the concept of we use these things as tools and they can be really helpful. But I guess, and I'm not sure if this is the gist of what he was saying because I didn't listen to the whole episode, but I got what I needed to from it. And what I felt, is what the teachers have been saying the whole time, what Jesus has been saying and what Buddha has been saying. It's like, you are that. So how do you want that to be? And so it is, it's just like, and so, yes, our words have power. And I think even if we're in this community of, let's say, healers and, all of that, we're still dealing with all of the belief systems that we've grown up with, that we have built our lives through, in and around. And so in some cases, it does take time for us to accept that we are capable of all that and more. And some people don't, they're just like, the kids are probably just going to be like, nope, I'm fine. And, go outside and play and never get sick again. Who knows? But there's this idea that we're starting to remember these things. And it's someone like Seth or RJ or you or me that can remind other people of that. And sometimes it's just like, oh, yeah, wait a minute.
And a lot of it's interesting because as you're saying that, I kept seeing the brainstem. And like I know that's connected to brain spotting, which I do a lot of, but it's also it connects to the nervous system and the subconscious mind. So a lot of times we don't really consciously know what we're believing sometimes until we get into our flow state or until we have a trigger, and then the trigger or the emotion is showing us, oh, there's something there that's actually guiding my life or whatever that belief is. And so really getting to those and just being curious about it. You don't even have to do, that's another belief, is I have to go through all this therapy or all this work to heal. And I don't believe that. I think that's also a belief.
Yeah, I love that.
I want to read just a little bit of this card, this lion card, this lion medicine.
And then I have to run. But if you girls want to keep playing, go for it.
Because it's so on point. It's talking about acknowledging your power and not playing small. So it says, the ancient king of the Zulu brings you an empowering message. You are destined to know and experience what it is to be truly empowered. Your voice, your courage, your wisdom, and your dignity can create considerable spiritual light, uplifting and inspiring others, guiding them from a place of spiritual truth towards the fulfillment of their own divine potential, which is what we were just talking about, you know, beings just showing that divine potential, however it may present. If you've been doubting yourself or feeling unworthy of the boldness of your visions, you must allow your spirit to roar, for you shall conquer all obstacles and succeed in your heart's desires.
On that note.
Yeah.
Well,
Should we come to a close? To be continued.
Happy.
Yeah. Happy portal energy and play. I want to just say, let's play with this through the whole month of August. Like, don't stop, won't stop.
yes. Love it. Keep threading it through everything. Keep bringing it through everything, like watering a garden. Just bring it through all the layers that you are, through every thought, through every action, through every belief, through every reaction. Just keep reminding and reforging that pathway of pure, unlimited potential and possibility that is available to all of us right now.
Yeah. And I just want to say thank you to everyone for sharing in this now moment with us and connecting in. And we appreciate you so much. And thank you, Candace. And thank you, Jess. And in love and light, namaste. And I'll let you close it out, Jess. You've got the power.